Hi guys, so I am back and I wanted to talk a little bit about, sorry, this is my first time using this. I wanted to talk a little bit about one of the workshops that we're actually going to be doing in the closed group in the webinar, and it is piggybacking off of the 7 days of selfishness. I had a problem loading that up to the YouTube account for some reason or another. Anyhow, what I want to talk about is your ability to be limitless, to be unbound, to be uninhibited, right? So, my 7 days of selfishness, like I said before in the first part, taught me a lot about who I wanted to have in my life, or who was good to be in my life, in accordance with whether or not I can love myself and love you at the same time, right? Because there are certain people that loving them consequently um, means that you can't love yourself, because the things that are required of them, from them, of you, is probably more self-sacrificial than love. It's probably dwindling some lines of disrespect, disregard, just when something is not healthy, when you see that you can't be with someone and love yourself at the same time, right? So I learned that a lot of the things that I was frustrated with, and a lot of things that I was upset about having to do, was things that I had committed to, and very enthusiastically committed to some of them until the time came and then I didn't want to do it. So I needed to then look into myself to see what about my impulses, or that I so impulsively want to do this, but then when it comes time to do the actual work of it and to actually keep that commitment, I'm upset about it, right? That's that attitude that you see in people. You wake them up to go do something that they said that they wanted to do. They said call them, they said wake me up at 10, we gonna go. You wake them up and they got an attitude, right? So I learned that about myself. And then finally, which is really the whole gist of this video, um, sorry, um, is the limitlessness, right? So this all comes into connection with some other things. Watch this. So I'm not religious as far as being a Christian or a Muslim. I'm not good with being bound. I'm not good with strict rules and stuff like that. I'm not good with that. But there are a lot of different aspects from each religion, that I bring to myself, and I like, and I feel like I can follow it without having to be underneath, that label. Okay. So in it, I started to say to myself, I started feeling really uncomfortable with saying God. I started to say the Most High. Then I felt really uncomfortable with saying the Most High, because I don't know, something about it was just like, what do you mean by that? And so in doing some YouTube searching, I mentioned her before. Her name is Kiki Senza. You should definitely, and go give her a chance, go watch her as well. She talked about her not believing in God. So do I believe in God? Short answer, no. Long answer is, when you put, or a short answer of her long answer, you should really go see it for yourself, see what she says. But to put a name on that energy, which I know is so limitless, so amazing, I'm so in awe of it. I don't know how it came to be. I don't know how it does what it does, but I know it does it. It is a bit disrespectful and insulting to put a word on it for me, to put bounds on it, to say, oh, I know all the ins and outs of this awesome energy. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't coincide, right? So watching her video and listening to her, she gave what I had already felt words, and I'm someone who's pretty good at words, but I really never was able to find the words to put it into, and she put it into words perfectly. And she gave me permission to not have to define my relationship with that energy that I know exists, right? When I gave myself permission to do that, when I was at peace in that place, it allowed me to accept the limitlessness in myself, right? I'm someone who used to be very bound to the idea of what something should be and what something should be, how a mother should behave, how a dad should behave, how a wife should behave, how a husband should behave, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And it did not serve me very well, because what I ended up doing was boxing myself in. I limited myself, right? So this 7 days of selfishness has brought me to a place of openness in myself, and comfortability, and being open and accepting of myself, and permission to say, I don't really know how to define it. It's something I intuitively feel, or know rather. And I'm not talking about anything mystical. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about like things that you can put against fact and it factually just doesn't make any sense. So you got to be careful with facts too, because all facts are is a group of people. Enough people came together and said this is a truth, and so then it became a fact. Wordplay is so something, I tell you. Anyway, the point is that when I gave myself permission to accept the limitlessness of that energy, gave myself permission to not have to define things, gave myself permission to not feel the need to make other people comfortable by defining something that is very personal and very intimate. It really doesn't need any definition, right? And so yeah. So the 7 days of selfishness did for me. It really freed me, and it really grew me as well. Like I said, this is the last thing it did. I was the type of person who always said I needed other people to kind of tell me, oh, calm down, stop, you're doing too much. And the 7 days of selfishness really allowed me to be my own best friend. Really allowed me to be that person that says, all right, that's enough, And, nothing is independent, yet everything is, so it's the balance. It's finding the balance. And the 7 days of selfishness served this purpose for me. Being self-sacrificial does not serve me. And so it's finding the balance between the two that's going to serve the people around me, and serve me, and serve that greater, higher, boundless, limitless energy the greatest, right? Okay, guys. So solution-based proactivity. Sometimes I get tongue twisted myself. Solution-based proactivity. This is part of solution-based proactivity. If some of you haven't done it yet, I would suggest that you do 7 days of selfishness. And some people are already selfish, and you're going to learn that through your 7 days of selfishness, whether you are already a selfish person who maybe needs to, pull those selfish reins back in a little bit. You'll learn that if you do it. Well, if you try it, please like, comment, subscribe, share. Let us know what your experience was. I give it another day or so, and then the other two ladies should be starting to come on and bless us with their presence and with their wisdom and with their experiences. And that's it. Solution-based proactivity. Blessings.